Hey guys, Venomous here, and I got a brand new segment of The Verdict for you right now, okay? Now, you guys probably have known this was coming up at some point or another, okay? Today, I'm going to be talking about the Tekken live-action movie, okay? That was a straight-to-DVD release here in the United States, okay? Now, we all know that video games movies suck, okay? And there's a level, kind of like, a hierarchy of how bad they pretty much suck, okay? With the tip-top more than likely being Super Mario Brothers' actual live-action movie, okay? But anyway, this Tekken movie may have not been that extremely bad, but it's kind of high up there, okay? Now, the only things that let me even first start out, okay? What is actually good about this movie? The only good thing about this actual movie, okay, is two things. One, some of the characters actually wear the outfits and actually look like a lot of the characters from their respective games, okay? I.e., Jin Kazama actually looks like Jin Kazama with blue flaming pants, not the red flaming pants that we're all accustomed to seeing. But hey, one of the alternate outfits and alternate colors in many of the games was blue flame pants for Jin Kazama, okay? So I didn't mind that at all. You also had Yoshimitsu, which I thought maybe looked the best out of the entire cast. The only one that was close enough to him, and that was only because he was actually willing to do it, was the guy that played Heihachi Mishima. I forgot his actual name at the moment, but he was the guy that played Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat in the live-action movie. But Yoshimitsu was awesome, okay? He actually looked like Yoshimitsu from Tekken 3, and I thought that was pretty cool. They actually went all out and actually making the actual characters how they're supposed to look, okay? And that's very hard to do, especially if you're adapting a video game to a live-action movie, which I give them props for, okay? Now, the only other thing that was probably good about this movie, okay, so I could get this out of the way so we could get into the meat and potatoes of this thing, Kazuya actually has a threesome with Anna and Nina. That's it, okay? I know that's, the highlight and the fantasy of a lot of fanboys out there for the Tekken franchise and stuff, but, I mean, come on, okay? This is going to segue kind of into my whole thing of what I see that's the problem with this movie and why this movie is terrible, okay? Number one, okay? Story-wise, okay? Or better yet, before I even get into story, let me just say, yeah, you know what? No, this is kind of like actually a part of the story and stuff, so I'll come out and say it, okay? Does not match anything of how the storyline is supposed to be in any of the Tekken games, okay? The creators, the actual directors and stuff, okay, went on their own tangent, and they made the Tekken fighters, even though they look how their actual game counterparts are supposed to look like, they make themselves look like the cast of the WWE, okay, the WWF. For the most part, instead of Tekken being like some, serious fighting tournament, to get control or get prize money or whatever, it's like a whole big spectacle, like something out of Monday Night Raw, for the most part. And I think it was terrible, okay? Because, to be honest with you, okay, the Tekken fighters, okay, aren't some type of like little kind of like boy band looking group or, pop band looking group, that hang out together in the same location and stuff. Most of these characters hate each other. Perfect example, which is what I was talking about before. Anna and Nina, okay? Yes, it's pretty cool, yes, that they have a threesome with Kazuya, okay? And now, pretty much a lot of fanboys out there would have wanted to be in Kazuya's position, okay? Now, as much as, fanboy fiction that might be, those two characters, Anna and Nina, hate each other. They can't be in the same room with each other, okay? As soon as they get sight of each other, they try to kill each other because they're both assassins and are both sisters that hate the living guts out of the other, okay, for the most part. Okay, why is it that such a huge, story point or plot point or, aspect of both of those characters are they going to omit and actually, have them almost kind of like a tag team for the most part? And I think that's pretty stupid, to be honest with you, okay? Secondly, okay, in this movie, spoiler alert in case anybody doesn't want to hear this, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you aren't going to see this movie anyway because you guys are hearing from me. It's terrible. Heihachi Mishima dies, and he doesn't die in any sort of cool way whatsoever, okay? He dies in the crappiest way possible. Granted, the guy that's playing him, okay, the guy that played Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat, looks like Heihachi Mishima, even down to his hair, for the most part, okay? He just doesn't seem like a badass, okay? Heihachi Mishima is an old guy, okay? I know this would be very hard to pull off in live action, but, with a lot of the stuff that we're able to do in this day and age with cinema, I think it could be done, and I think more effort should have been put into it, making Heihachi look badass, because that is a badass character, okay? Pretty much, he is like, the leader of Tekken. He created Tekken, for the most part. Like, He's supposed to be this old man, okay, that's pushing 60 or 70 years old and being able to like wipe the floor with like half of the Tekken roster, okay? And he does not come off as like that. He comes off as like an old man, that's in his twilight years, that's pretty much at the end of his road, okay? And that's not how Heihachi Mishima is supposed to be, okay? There are a lot of fans of Heihachi Mishima, including myself out there, that should be very disappointed by this, okay? He looks like him, but he doesn't feel like Heihachi Mishima, okay? And that happens with some of the other characters too, i.e. being Kazuya Mishima, okay? Kazuya is also supposed to be another badass character, and technically, besides Jin, he's supposed to be the main actual character of the Tekken franchise, especially now these days how they're making him out to be in Tekken X Street Fighter, okay? Or Street Fighter X Tekken. He's like the forerunner, kind of like how Ryu is to Street Fighter. Kazuya is also how he's supposed to be to Tekken, also Jin too, but father, son, the whole thing, whatever have you. Okay, Kazuya in this movie comes off more like a whining little, complaining little kid, okay, that, isn't getting any, recognition and love from his daddy, so he rebels and does all these, like, stupid things, okay? He doesn't even fight like how Kazuya is supposed to fight. There is no Mishima style of fighting in this movie. There's fighting, okay, that looks like, kickboxing, kempo, little things here and there, kind of like glorified fighting stances and poses and stuff like that. But the actual fighting styles of any of the characters never made it into this movie, okay? Eddie Gordo, who is a capoeira fighter, okay, does not really fight like Eddie Gordo. It doesn't, feel like capoeira, okay? He doesn't seem like he does much, and he fights Raven, I believe it is. He fights him, and it's not really doing much. You know what they should have did? If anything, instead of casting the guy that they got as Eddie Gordo, they should have went to the guy that did the capoeira fight from the movie The Protector. Actually hire that guy, because you could believe that is some real capoeira right there. They actually made it seem like you could actually mess somebody up with that fighting style, okay? And they should have at least looked into a little bit more each one of the characters' fighting styles and actually try to go more with it and actually roll with it better than actually making like real quick shots and stuff like that, because you don't feel any sense of impact that these characters could beat the crap out of anybody that comes their way at all, to be honest with you. And one of my biggest gripes, especially regarding that, Yoshimitsu fights with technically it's supposed to be a laser sword in many of the games, okay? In this movie, he has an actual samurai sword, which wouldn't bother me so much if it was more that he actually stood by his actual samurai sword. In this movie, he fights Jin, spoiler alert, okay, but I don't really care at this point. He fights Jin Kazama, and Jin Kazama tries to come at him with an actual bar. He blocks him, knocks Jin down, and instead of just throwing down the bar and keeping a samurai sword, he just throws both weapons down, okay? To be honest with you, I don't think Yoshimitsu would really do that if he spends so much time using his samurai sword, okay? Also, on top of that, martial law. Martial law number 1 does not look like martial law, okay? He's supposed to look kind of like how Bruce Lee would look. I mean, they could have gone any slim, somewhat muscular, Japanese or Chinese actor, okay, to play someone like martial law and maybe emulate a little bit of Bruce Lee into there, because martial law is supposed to emulate Bruce Lee, period. He's supposed to fight in Jeet Kune Do, and this martial law does not fight like that, okay? Like I said, they did not study and did not do their homework on any of the fighting styles for any of the characters, and I'm really disappointed about that. That's what completely killed the entire movie. The main thing that killed the entire movie was the story that they came up with, okay, with this whole Tekken City thing, the logo from Tekken 6 with minus the 6, being the, like, pretty much Tekken logo for the entire city, an actual main event like WrestleMania, completely garbage, to be honest with you, okay? Besides that, okay, the character interactions, like I said, the fighting styles and all that, the love interest, there was a love interest for Jin Kazama in like the first part of the movie, and then she showed up one time afterwards and never showed up again. Okay, then immediately Jin Kazama just falls in love with Christy Montero, which I don't even think in any of the storylines for any of the Tekken games, those two characters come together like that. I think he's supposed to, come into contact with maybe someone like Asuka Kazama. If anything, in reality, I think that's like his cousin or his sister or something or whatever. I could be wrong. It would have been better to actually find an actual love interest that those two could be together or come into contact with each other throughout the entire movie. Not just hang with one, drop her like a bad habit, and move on to someone else that, technically never come into contact with in the original source material. Okay, there was a lot of stuff done that was wrong with this movie. Okay. Now the sad part about this is that one, it was a straight to DVD release, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people did not want to see this movie in theaters. Which is sad because it looked awesome from the trailers. I remember seeing the trailer for the first time and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be finally good. This might be how like Mortal Kombat was when it was actually created. And then after having seen that stuff, I should have been a little bit more smarter to actually expect how bad this movie was gonna be. But I think it's sad to say that this movie is probably gonna be worse than the King of Fighters movie that's coming out. And you guys know how I feel about the King of Fighters movie. Eventually, when that movie comes out, I'm gonna see it and do a verdict on that. But that's for another time. It's just sad to see that something that had so much potential and so much promise for it, go kind of lose like its momentum. And it's just sad, okay? Somebody at Hollywood needs, if they're going to take on a project to adapt a video game movie, they should actually do their homework, know the source material, be a fan of the franchise if possible, and actually go and roll with it, okay? And do it right. Okay, so I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm just, I pray that it does. But that's just my comments on this and, my opinions on stuff. You guys might feel differently. I'm just throwing it out there for you. Leave your comments and video responses. I don't mind. Just keep it civil. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys saw this movie or if you haven't seen it, if my opinions and stuff are going to dictate whether you're actually going to see this movie or not, or if you just want to see it to see how bad it is from like so many bad reviews it's getting, let us know, okay? Tell us what's going on with this, okay? Because I'm really disappointed at this movie. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys again soon. This has been The Verdicts. Venomous is gone, and take it easy, guys. I'll talk to you all soon.